Good morning, afternoon, and evening, St. Michael's community. Thank you so much for joining me for this, our second episode of our new podcast, The Archangel Book Nook. I'm so glad you can join us. I am Mrs. Roach, your host, teacher, and reader. And this week we have got some really great things in store for you. In our episode today, we're going to have an interview with a special guest. We are going to talk about Literacy Week, which starts today. And we're also going to be hearing a book reading that is read by mystery teachers. So listen to the book and see if you can identify who is whom, because we're going to have a guessing game that I'll tell you about at the end of the podcast. For now, I'd love to present to you our interview with our very special guest. So without further ado, please have a listen. Boys and girls, I am so thrilled to bring you today an interview with our fearless leader, our amazing principal, and tour de force, Mrs. Kennedy. Hi, Mrs. Kennedy. How are you doing?
Well, hello, Mrs. Roach. I am so excited to be here and to speak with you on this topic that I love so much. So thank you very much for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. So let's just jump right in, and I want to ask, did you always like reading as a kid?
This might be a tough question for me, but I'm going to have to be honest with you. When I was really young, no, reading was rather difficult for me. So I didn't really like reading, and I was raised by my grandparents who were ESL. And because of that, they didn't really share with me about books too much. So I wasn't really introduced to a lot of books till later on. So reading was a bit tough early on.
So it's interesting that you say that, because you have such great enthusiasm here at the school about reading, and it's obviously such an interest and a passion of yours. So when did things change for you?
Oh, I know exactly when it was. Every summer I used to visit my cousins who were from Squamish, and I was originally born in Squamish. So I would go down in the summer and I would visit them, and I would spend about 3 weeks of my summer visiting with them. And I had my one group of cousins, that was my aunt, and she had 7 kids. And they were voracious readers. They loved reading. Well, they had to keep busy. There were 7 kids, right? So they had comic books and novels. And every night it was pick a book night, and we would all cuddle on the bed and read. And so that was when I picked up my first real novel, and it became my all-time favorite. The book was called Heidi by Joanna Spyri. And I think the book was so important to me was because it was a little girl who was raised by her grandfather. And so I could relate to that book. And I just loved it. And that was it. It opened up my world to reading, because I can just imagine being in another place, in another time. It was just awesome. So that was when my passion for reading actually started, with the book Heidi.
So I know our listeners can't see us right now, but I just have a big old goofy grin on my face, because I just love hearing stories like that, where we talk about how books completely open up the world to different adventures. Even if you're just sitting in your own bedroom, you can travel different places with books.
Absolutely, I agree. And then that was it. I just loved reading. Picked up a book and would read. And then when I was teaching too, the other thing, we used to have back then it was silent reading time. Well, I loved that time because I used to bring my favorite books. And I used to read John Grisham books. I liked the lawyer books. So I would bring them. I'd be reading those, and we'd be going in. But everybody was passionate. All the kids were reading, but it was only supposed to be about 20 minutes. And I remember looking at the clock once. It was like 40 minutes. We were all reading, and they're like, "Oh, Mrs. Kennedy, when are we going to stop?" "Oh, yeah, we're ready to stop now." We just loved reading. And I would oral read to the kids. So we would find books to oral read, and I loved doing that. I was passionate about that. Even picture books with the older kids, I would read books by, I loved Mortimer. I would read those books, and just anything we can get our hands on, we would read out loud to the kids. I loved it.
I have to remember, do you remember the chorus to Mortimer?
Bang, bang, clang, clang.
Clang, clang,
Bang, bang, yeah. Noise all day. Clang, rattle, bang, bang. I'm going to make my noise all day. Yeah.
That's a great one for
Yeah.
reading out loud.
Yeah. Loved it. So we enjoyed it.
Thank you so much for this interview and for sharing a little bit about how you got started with your love of reading.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Happy reading, everyone.
Another big thank you to Mrs. Kennedy for her lovely interview. Now moving on to the book portion of our podcast, I'm so happy to introduce to you this week's book, which is called The Princess and the Pony, and it's written by Kate Beaton. I think you're really going to enjoy this story, especially because we will have those mystery teachers reading the book. So see if you can figure out who it is, and then I'll tell you more about that afterwards. For now, our dramatic rendering of The Princess and the Pony by Kate Beaton.
In a kingdom of warriors, the smallest warrior was Princess Pinecone, and she was very excited for her birthday. Most warriors get fantastic birthday presents: shields, amulets, helmets with horns on them, things to win battles with, things that make them feel like champions. Princess Pinecone got a lot of cozy sweaters. Warriors do not need cozy sweaters. This year, it would be different. Pinecone made sure to let everyone know exactly what she wanted. A big horse, a fast horse, a strong horse, a real warrior's horse. And they tried their best. But they didn't get it quite right.
I can't ride that,
Said Princess Pinecone.
It's too small. It's too round. And I think its eyes are looking in different directions.
This was true, but only sometimes. But you can't say no to a birthday present, so she took the little pony to her room, where it ate things it shouldn't have and farted too much. Now, as it happens, a great battle was coming up, and battling is a warrior's favorite thing to do. The princess tried to teach the pony how to be a real warrior horse, but the pony was hopeless.
We'll never be champions.
Pinecone sighed. The day of the great battle arrived. All the other warriors seemed very big and very tough.
Just do your best,
She told the pony. The starting horn sounded, and what a battle it was! There were dodgeballs and spitballs and hairballs and square balls. Those were new. People were getting knocked over left and right. Pinecone stood at the edge, looking for her chance to dive in. Just then, Otto the Awful, the meanest warrior of all, charged right for her. The crowd held its breath. Pinecone fumbled for her spitballs. But Otto stopped in his tracks. His eyes grew very wide.
"Aw,
He said,
what a cute little pony. Who would want to hurt a roly-poly pony like you?"
warrior after warrior paused to admire the pony,
What a cutie pie!
said Sally Smash,
"He's so round."
said Carlos the Cruel,
Oh, he looks a bit like me.
said Huge Harold. Pinecone was flabbergasted, flummoxed, floored,
This is not how a battle usually goes.
she said,
"You're right.
said Otto.
But we warriors don't often get to show our cuddly sides."
Princess Pinecone thought about it.
Well,
She said,
I can help you with that.
soon all the warriors had their own cozy sweaters. They were looking pretty cuddly for a bunch of brutes. Everyone voted Pinecone and the pony the most valuable warriors of the day. Pinecone threw her arms around the pony.
You're the best horse a warrior could ask for.
She cheered.
Nothing can stop a team like us.
The little pony was so excited, it lifted its tail and farted.
Well,
Said Pinecone.
we can work on that.
I just love that story, and it shows that we can always make the best out of an unexpected situation. Now for some more information on the Literacy Week activity we have. So today, a form was sent home with the oldest and only kids in each class, and it has 4 boxes on that sheet where you can write down the names of the teachers that you think did the reading in that episode's story. So for today, you would write down the names of the teachers that you thought you heard reading The Princess and the Pony. Each family submits 1 piece of paper on Monday morning, either to Mrs. Roach or to the classroom teacher. If you listened to Friday's episode of Grumpy Bird, I said that on Friday we would announce who had read which books. That's going to change because we're releasing the last book on Friday, and so instead we will announce the teacher readers on Monday, and the best guesser in each class and that guesser's siblings will get a little prize. So stay tuned, especially on Monday when we announce who those readers were, and make sure to submit your paper on Monday morning by 9 with your family's guesses. Once again, thank you for joining us for our second episode of the Archangel Book Nook. I hope you tune in again tomorrow and try and solve those mystery teachers. Bye for now.